Welcome to the True Blue Riffcast, the #1 Riff Tracks podcast in the world. I am Jeremy, and I am joined, as always, by...
Yo, yiggity, yo, I am Dave up here in the hizzy.
You feeling okay today, Dave?
I am fantastic. Actually, I took a lot of not painkillers, just like over the counter, like, stuff that's legal that you are not going to get arrested for. And I'll tell you why. Earlier today at wrestling practice, we're calling it practice now for some reason, even though for a long time they got mad at us for calling it practice now, not training. But anyway, I digress. We were going for a body slam, and my partner / opponent accidentally didn't drop me on my back, but dropped me on my side and my leg.
Ow.
So I was almost seriously injured. I had to roll out of the ring. I had an internal bruise pretty bad. I thought I maybe had broken my leg, but it turns out it's not all that bad. So I've just been limping along all day. So yeah, I mean,
So you're hopped up on Tylenol?
Yes, I'm hopped up on. Is that a thing that can happen?
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe if you took a whole bottle.
Anyway, aren't we here to talk about riff tracks?
Yes, we are here to talk about riff tracks. But before we get into our riffs for today, let's take a quick look at headlines.
Headlines.
Up first, and then this isn't really new news, but we do have a Patreon. You can head over to patreon.com/trueblueriffcast to sign up for that. We already have one good blooper. Might actually be the first blooper that you guys get over on Patreon.
Oh yeah, the thing that I just barely did right before the recording, and I don't know. I mean, well, last week I almost choked to death, and I thought maybe you were going to put that up, but I don't know if you still have that. But
I do still have it, but it was pretty rough, and I don't know that people would actually want to listen to that. So,
but want to listen to that? You want to listen to me almost choked to death?
yes, I kind of held off on that.
Maybe that's not the kind of humorous outtake that our patrons want to listen to.
They probably don't want to hear you hacking and coughing.
Oh, dude, it was pretty terrible.
We do have our listener poll, which is now being dubbed the Patreon poll.
Woo!
And so you
guys did me good. I love you guys.
yeah, you voted for the one that he wanted.
Gotta say, yeah, I asked you to do something and you did it.
Wow.
So thank you.
Don't go hungry with power now, Dave.
I'll go hungry with other things.
Yes.
That got weird. Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of people that are hungry with power, Disney Plus launched this past week.
Woo!
After a day of trying to iron out technical difficulties that come with 12 million people trying to log in all at the same time to watch The Mandalorian.
I can't imagine why there were problems.
Yeah, but there still are a few other things they have to fix, like the cropping on The Simpsons and the forced widescreen on a few other programs. Some of the old 90s Disney cartoons are like that also. And they did promise to fix The Simpsons so that we would be able to select a 4:6 or 4:3 ratio instead of the 16:9 widescreen. Hopefully they give us that option with the other shows, and
that doesn't really bother me.
Well,
I gotta say, they go to like, what is it, like 16 something,
16:9, yeah,
or something.
The main problem with The Simpsons, at least, is that it cuts off things. Jokes on the screen, stuff like that. It's actually you're missing out on actual things that were meant to be seen.
Some of the color in The Simpsons looks really weird on Disney Plus. I do gotta say.
One of the other issues that they have to fix for a few of the shows are that they are the seasons are up in a seemingly random manner for some of them. One of the most important ones being the new DuckTales series, where for season 2 in particular, they have the finale listed as episodes 8 and 9. And if you watch that before the rest of the season, you're not going to know what's going on because it is kind of, I mean, there's a lot of standalone episodes, but there's an overall arc for the season, and that's the culmination of it.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about the new DuckTales is
Yeah.
that it does do this serialized stuff, especially with like Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mom. I think I really do like that, and
Right.
that's something that they couldn't really do with in the first series.
Yeah.
Another thing about the new DuckTales, if I might, that show is so funny. I remember I watched the first, the pilot. I don't know if you really call it a pilot, but there was one joke that just had me doubled over in just like laughter because it was just so meta and so out of nowhere. It was Dewey, right? Uncle Scrooge is like, "Oh, I love you guys. You guys are the best." And Dewey goes, "What's my name?" And Scrooge just like waits a couple of beats and he goes, "Bluey?" Because he wears the blue shirt, and I lost it. I was just like, "Oh my god, that is brilliant."
There's a lot of really good jokes in this show. It's very well written. Okay, Duckworth, the butler that Scrooge had,
Yeah.
in the current series is a ghost. He's dead. He's long dead. He's a ghost. He still hangs around. He still does butler stuff. In the season 2 finale, he and Scrooge and Launchpad and Mrs. Beakley are all like planning their attack, like how they're going to counterattack their enemy. And Duckworth is just like, "I'll go get things ready for you. You know, we're all gonna die. I'll go get things ready for you." And he goes down through the floor. And Mrs. Beakley says, "It's a little disconcerting that he went down instead of up."
That is super funny.
The big story here with Disney Plus is The Mandalorian.
Of course, yes, The
Now,
Mandalorian.
so far, we've only had 2 episodes.
First, okay, guys, yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I gotta put this out there. I'm usually one for saying that the world doesn't revolve around you. We don't need spoilers, but for this one, I'm gonna relent and say we're gonna be talking about what happens in the actual show. So, in fact, well, I do think that most people who want to see The Mandalorian have already seen it. That being said, if you haven't, go ahead and tune out now and come back in whenever. Just like get a random thing down there, and we'll be talking about something else. But yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably be safe in about 10 minutes. But yeah, The Mandalorian, we've only had 2 episodes so far because they are releasing it weekly instead of just putting the whole season up.
Which I was surprised by. I was very surprised by that because usually they release the whole season, like with stuff like this,
Well,
they release it all at once.
it's
Yeah.
it's probably because you get a 7-day free trial, and they want people to stick around
Oh
for
yeah.
longer than.
Yeah, they want, and if you can't binge, yeah, they want to get another $7 from you to see the whole Mandalorian before the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, guys. Disney Plus is $7 a month. It's not, like Netflix or anything.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
but that's aside
It's
from the point.
cheaper than the WWE network.
And there's way more entertainment in this.
Yeah, there is. It's
In the
stacked.
first episode, we see our bounty hunter on an ice planet, and he's tracking somebody. He goes into a bar,
This fish man.
gets into a fight with some of the locals, yeah, and he finds his bounty there. This blue guy played by Horatio Sands, and
Mhm.
he takes him, and he makes his way back to his ship, um, where they're attacked by some water creature that breaks through the ice. I don't remember what they said it was called.
Yes, yeah, some kind of weird monster that will from like the Phantom Menace that we'll
Yeah,
never see again.
and they, he blasts it. They get away. While they're in space, I have to mention this because this was great. I loved this little line. The guy who's been taken, he says he has to go to the bathroom. and he goes down into the interior of the ship from the cockpit, and he's walking around, and he's like, I was really hoping I'd be free with my family for Life Day,
Life Day, yeah.
which is technically today. The day we're recording it is Life Day, just FYI. And they do make a joke in the holiday special riff for the Dunkin' Donuts Time to Make the Donuts guy, calling him Horatio Sands. So it's kind of prophetic, if you will, you know, talking about Horatio Sands in the holiday special, and now Horatio Sands is talking about
Horatio Sands is getting
the
trapped in
holiday special.
carbonite. Yeah, he's a fish monster getting trapped in carbonite. That's another thing. There's a lot of fan service in The Mandalorian.
Oh,
Like
a
I would
ton.
say, just like in these first two episodes, I wasn't expecting there to be a lot of fan service because if you remember, for The Force Awakens, that was like a lot of like people who were critical of The Force Awakens were just like they didn't like like all the fan service in it. But The Mandalorian, which everyone seems to love, there's just like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
You have the garbage can droid, and then I don't even dude the Jawas in episode 2. They just he slaughters them.
Until he gets up on top of the sandcrawler and they're all
Yeah.
standing there waiting for him. I thought
Yeah.
that was a great moment. But in the first episode, he gets this mission to go to this other planet to find some 50-year-old creature, and he gets there and he meets Nick Nolte, who was, I gotta say, he was perfect casting for that role. Like,
Yeah.
he fits that role perfectly.
I have spoken.
I have spoken. Yes, that is the best thing. I love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets him to tame a blurg, and he has to ride it across the countryside.
Now these things are taken right out of Golden Axe.
The blurg, they actually, I don't know, they're like it's a two-legged lizard creature thing. Apparently, they're found lots of places throughout the galaxy. They made an appearance in the Clone Wars series, but that's not their first foray into the Star Wars universe.
Oh no.
They first appeared in 1985 in the television film Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. That was the first time that we ever saw the blurg.
Yeah, and just touching on that, and this also hits on the fan service part, is that they do use stuff from like all corners of the Star Wars universe in this thing, not just from the movies.
He finds his target on this desert planet, and
And he shoots it out with IG-88 or what? Yeah.
IG-11.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a pretty good bit there where IG-11 keeps threatening to self-destruct.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
And they find the package. IG-11 says they want the package delivered dead, and the Mandalorian's like, no, they told me dead or alive. And the IG unit pulls his gun out, points it at the package, which we'll tell you that in a second. And you see a blaster fire, and you hear the sound, and IG-11 falls over with his head blown apart by the Mandalorian, who then proceeds to poke fingers with the Baby Yoda in the package.
Here's the thing. I was super shocked. I was not expecting a baby like of all the things to be in there, a baby Yoda was not something that would like even enter my mind.
Yeah. Now, this is only the third one of that species that we've ever seen.
Yeah, we've seen Yoda, Yaddle, and this thing. Everyone's out there talking on the internet. I mean, if you've been on Facebook, you've probably seen pictures of baby Yoda.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, could this be Yoda? And it's like,
no, it's not
no.
Yoda.
No, it's like, no, come on.
This series takes place 5 years after the end of Return of the Jedi.
But time travel, Jeremy. They did it in Avengers Endgame.
And they did it in Star Wars Rebels. So time travel is canon in the Star Wars universe, kind of. But yeah, he's trying to leave the planet with this baby Yoda. The Jawas, the off-world Jawas, find his ship,
God.
and they strip it down, and they take a bunch of parts from it. So he has to go find the Jawas with the help of Nick Nolte, and they want something in trade.
And then go fight a
Yes,
rhinoceros.
for her hairy egg, which the Jawas literally just slice open and then just start eating it. They lose their over this egg, man.
Okay, not for nothing. It's gross.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Okay, it's like it's revolting. What like
Wootini!
Wootini, guys. Wootini.
And then we see Baby Yoda use the Force on the rhinoceros thing, and then he like passes out because he overexerted himself.
Mhm.
And we say Baby Yoda, but he's 50 years old, and I know they age slower, but yeah.
It's still a little Baby Yoda.
And then little Baby Yoda eats a frog thing by swallowing it whole.
Yeah, that thing is as big as he was.
Yeah, that was kind of gross too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like not nearly as gross as the egg thing, but it was kind of gross.
Yeah.
And he gets off the planet, and yeah, that's it for now.
And they rebuild this ship to be space worthy by themselves. But whatever.
It's just a show, Dave. You should really just relax.
Yeah, I should really just relax. Shut up. No.
All right, let's take a look at the weekend box office. Coming in at number 1, the new film Ford versus Ferrari, taking in $31 million.
Never even heard of it.
Midway coming in second place at $8.7 million. The new Charlie's Angels opening to a paltry $8.6 million.
That movie is out? I didn't know it was out.
And then the John Cena led Playing with Fire, followed by Last Christmas.
So Charlie's Angels, directed by Elizabeth Banks, comes in at number 3, and it stars Kristen. I don't think you're gonna play Catwoman. I just don't see it. I mean, I would love it, but I just don't see it happening now. Because it seems to me like you should be a draw. If you're leading Charlie's Angels in a movie directed by Elizabeth Banks, and it's November, and you lose out to a movie I haven't even heard of for number 1, you're not going to play Catwoman. Sorry, I don't see it happening.
It didn't even come in at second.
Yeah,
it came in at third for the weekend. Like that's not good.
Hey,
man.
Kristen, I'm on your side. I really am. But I mean, I just don't see it happening.
Now let's take a look at our short reviews of Riff Track Shorts.
Yes!
For today's short reviews of Riff Track Shorts, we're going to be taking a look at A Visit to Santa, released December 19th, 2007.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this short...
That is a long, long time ago.
Yes. This short is technically the second to be released by Riff Tracks, but most do consider it to be the start of the actual Riff Track Shorts series. So rather than starting with Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey, which was released first, it was actually released December 17th, 2006.
Right.
I decided to go with A Visit to Santa. And Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey, I think, was a Mike solo effort also.
Yeah, it sure was.
Is
that available anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, you can buy it. It is also $3.
Oh, wow.
But it's good. I enjoyed it. But we're not here to talk about Nestor. I keep calling him Nestor. That's it.
Nestor. I can't imagine why. Yeah.
Nestor. So, A Visit to Santa. Between the children speaking in tongues, the literal worst North Pole ever, and the second worst parade ever committed to film, and you know which one is the worst.
Yeah, I sure do.
It's might not be a great way to start your foray into Riff Track Shorts unless you're starting it around this time of year, simply because it's a Christmas thing, but it's still a great addition to anyone's library. Besides, who says that just because it's a Christmas short, you can only watch it at Christmas time? Like, I'm of the firm belief that it can be Christmas any time of the year. You just have to feel it in your heart, Dave.
I believe so too. Yeah.
That's why
Yes. Keep Christmas with you all through
That's why I
the
listen to Christmas
year.
music in July. But
Me too.
yeah, this one.
Not even kidding. That's a real thing that I do. Yeah.
Nice. I am glad I'm not the only weirdo. In this grouping of two.
In this podcast,
Yes,
between the
in this
two of
podcast
us,
between the
yes.
two of us. A visit, yeah, man. A visit to Santa is messed up. Because it looks like it takes place, partially in like a split level ranch house, like probably in Modesto or something. They ride in Santa's helicopter up to the North Pole
Santa's
because that's a thing.
helicopter?
Yeah,
What is this, Pirates World? I mean, oh no, wait, Santa does. If Santa had a helicopter in Pirates World, he could have got out of there a lot faster.
yeah. Anyway, I give A Visit to Santa 4 candy canes out of 5.
Woo! Yeah.
Let's move on from the shorts to the not so shorts.
Boy, do we have a little bit to talk about today.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not like the new release that we're talking about today. It's not like the previous 2 new releases that we've done.
No, this one's terrible in a completely different way.
Yeah.
But let's keep with the Christmas theme and let's take a look at the winner of our patron poll first. Our patrons.
Oh, I love you guys so much.
Our patrons got to choose between the live Santa Claus, Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, and I Believe in Santa Claus, and they picked
I Believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this movie, it's a 1984 French film.
Oh God.
And you can definitely tell it's French.
Dude, this movie, of all the Christmas Riff Tracks releases, this was released in 2015. I almost said this year, but this was released in 2015 at the end of I would say one of the most successful content years Riff Tracks ever had.
Yeah.
Was in 2015. And this kind of like closed the show out. It's bizarre. It's really, really strange. I know we say that about a lot of movies, but this one is just, I mean, like, especially when you put it up against stuff like I never thought I'd see a Christmas movie like this one ever. Just with like the things, just with like the things that happen. Now, Jeremy watched it today. I remember a lot about it, but Jeremy watched it today, so he has it super fresh in his mind. Give us a rundown of what goes on in I Believe in Santa Claus.
Okay, well, the movie is about a little boy named Simon and one of his classmates. I can't remember her name. It's very French.
Girl.
Yeah, girl. We'll just call her Girl. And Simon is very shy and timid. He's bullied by all the kids at school and a couple of the adults.
And the janitor actively harasses him.
He throws window spackle right in his face. Like, he whips it at him like it's a snowball, and it just kind of right on his cheek. And then he gets this huge red mark, and his teacher's like, "Oh, what is wrong?" And that was more Russian, I'm sorry, but
like, what do you think I'm getting?
And he's like, "No, I'm fine. It's nothing." And he goes home, and
things are so much better there.
Yeah. He lives with grandma because mom and dad have been kidnapped by terrorists in Africa. Like, what? So he has to write a letter to Santa as part of his school assignment the next day. And this kid is like 6. He's either 6 or 7. I don't remember. I think it said on the thing at Santa's.
Yeah.
But I know girl is 6.5, so he's right around that age. But they have to write letters to Santa, and his letter is that he doesn't want any toys or anything like that. He just wants his mom and dad brought back. Grandma talks to his teacher about the letter, and she's like, "Yeah, they're probably dead because they set an ultimatum and that expired a couple months ago, and so his parents probably just were killed."
Well, maybe he should be writing to Jack Bauer and not Santa Claus.
Yes. So on the last day of school, before Christmas break, they take a field trip to the airport. Okay, also in this universe, when they were writing their letters to Santa, they had to put Santa's address. And Santa lives
The North Pole.
and no, that's not where Santa lives in this movie. Santa lives in Rovaniemi, in Lapland,
Yeah.
in Finland. So while the kids are at the airport, Simon says, we should just take a plane and go to Lapland and go find Santa. And girl is like, oh, but we can't get on a plane. You don't have a ticket. And he's like, nah, it'll happen because I really want it to. Literally, the instant he says that, a stewardess comes over and says, oh, you must be the two children we've been holding this flight for. Here's your passes. Get on the plane. And then the little girl starts crying because she basically just got stuck on a plane to Finland from France. And she's scared because she's going to get in trouble with her parents because she's 6 and she's on a flight out of the country.
Why? Oh, okay. Where's the teacher?
The teacher got on the bus and went back to school to all the other kids because she asked if they were all there and they said they were. So why check? Why do a head count and just get on the bus and leave?
You have no precious lives. Yeah.
So they end up in Finland and they start wandering through the snowy wilderness trying to find Santa's house. They end up collapsed in the snow, and Santa just happens to find them, just like, oh, hey, what are you kids doing here? And this is you're going to be too cold, and let's get on my sleigh and come on. And,
Do you think?
and he takes them to his house, where they get to warm up a little bit, and they meet the fairy.
Yeah, who just happens to be their teacher.
Karen Cheryl is the actress's name. Now, at the time that they filmed this, she was one of the most popular singers in France. So that's why she got this role. And she sings these songs, and they're almost impossible to understand half of the words for it.
Yeah.
But one of the when they're on the bus to the airport, she sings a song telling the kids to stop all that crying business, and Santa lives in Rovaniemi in Lapland. That's part of the song, and he's on his way, so stop all that crying business. And okay, she's singing it directly to Simon, the little kid whose parents were kidnapped by terrorists in Africa.
Yeah.
They go to Santa and the fairy talk. They decide that they're going to go to Africa to try and save his parents. So they teleport to Africa with the help of the fairy's magic, because Santa can't fly a sled unless it's Christmas Eve. That's the only time that he can fly.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the rule. Yeah, that's the line. Yeah.
Well, according to this African warlord guy that they meet,
Bhutan?
it's not actually Santa, because Santa only leaves his house for Christmas Eve. He doesn't ever leave his house.
Yeah, he's got nothing else to do. Yeah.
But yeah, they get captured by the warlord, and they get imprisoned, and the fairy dropped her wand somewhere, so she can't just teleport them out. But they get imprisoned with the parents. The kids, the warlord's children, decide that they're gonna go see if it's actually Santa, and he tells them he's Santa, so they believe him, and they free them by stealing some of the assault rifles that they have.
Yeah.
And going and hiding behind a big tree and shooting them and waving them around.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Woo! Yeah, and then they teleport back. No, they don't. The Santa and the fairy teleport back, but they don't take the parents with them. They point them in the direction of the Red Cross encampment and say, just get in this Jeep and drive this way until you see the sign with the big Red Cross on it.
Right, that's it. For some reason, that just reminds me of, like I could just see them driving towards, the ranger station in Star Games. For some reason. I don't know why that popped into my head, but I could, because, the ranger will come out and be like, what's the problem?
Yeah. And meanwhile, while Santa and the fairy are gone, Simon and girl and a little puppy get kidnapped by an ogre in the woods. Like, I don't even remember why they left Santa's house. And I just watched the movie and I already don't remember. But they get captured by the ogre.
It's probably something super dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, well, why'd they get on the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ogre, who is, of course, the school janitor.
Yeah.
And he
It's like a
captures
whole
them.
Wizard of Oz thing.
Yeah, and he's gonna eat them. But they have to clean his house first. And they're taking their sweet time.
You think?
So he makes a sandwich out of the puppy.
Oh yeah.
Like, he grabs a puppy and puts him between a loaf of bread. And they make a great joke here about how introducing that sandwich at Subway was only the second worst thing that happened this year. That being that this happened.
Oh no! Oh no!
If you don't remember what happened for Subway in 2015,
2015, yeah.
look it up. Look it up.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's terrible.
They don't actually show him eating the puppy there. But I will bring up the point that they do bring up in the riff. They don't leave the ogre's house with the dog.
So presumably the dog got eaten.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
After they escape, they don't leave with the dog. And this is after the fairy disguises herself like Red Riding Hood, and gets captured by the ogre.
So the teacher disguises the fairy as disguises Red Robin Hood.
Yes, and she gets captured, and he says he's going to eat girl for the appetizer, the boy for dinner, and he's going to have Red Riding Hood for dessert with some whipped cream. Like, hello. But they're like, what are you doing here? You can zap us out now. And she's like, no, my magic doesn't work in the ogre's domain. You know, got to make these arbitrary rules as you go. And so she decides that she's stalling for time while Santa and his 6 elves come to rescue them.
His 6 elves. Wow. That's
Yes, 6 elves in his workshop. While they're on their way there, Simon moves a torch to burn a rope right next to his head. Like, he's actually has a real torch, and he's burning a rope right next to his very real 6-year-old head. It drops the chandelier on the ogre, and they escape, and Santa takes the boy and girl back to France just in time for them to sing a carol at the church on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Oh, also, okay. So they come into see now. This is one of the things that like really bugs me about this movie a little bit. Is that okay? So let's just assume that the teacher was not the fairy. Okay.
Yeah.
She sees these 2 kids and just like without saying a word to them, just ushers them into their place.
Oh, good, you're here now. We can begin.
Yeah, it's like you're here now. We can begin. Not like, oh my gosh, thank goodness you're. I can't believe we lost you in the airport. You know, like where have you been? But no, it's just like, oh no, hurry up, just get in your place so we can sing, or rather, I can turn around and start singing.
Yeah, let's just act like nothing happened, and that way I won't get in trouble. And
yeah, nothing to see here. Like everything went according to plan. It happens all the time. All the time.
So the kid goes home and goes to bed, and he wakes up and his parents are asleep in the living room.
Yeah, they did.
And the end. Like, that's one of the weirdest, like, you know, I get like, oh, my mommy's not around anymore, and it's just me and my dad, and you know, they've done stuff like that before, and that's not really out of the ordinary for a movie like this, for a kids movie or whatever.
But this is like every choice they made, they decided to go with like the weirdest thing that they could think of.
Yeah.
Like in that moment.
Yeah.
Like when they were writing the script. It's be like, okay, what's some super weird stuff that can happen next that like you would never think of in a million years I mean, like Angel gets his wing? No. We're gonna go to Africa and we're
gonna talk to monkeys because the fairy can talk to every creature on the earth.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's
that's
I believe in Santa Claus.
So if you have
I
not,
love this
if
movie,
you
by
have
the
not
way. Yeah,
seen this riff, like
it's worth it.
you have to check it out. You have, and it,
It's a forgotten like I know I talk about movies that have riffs that have been forgotten, but they've done like 400 movies now or something like that. And well, maybe not 400, maybe 300. But dude, this is like I really like this one. This is another like deep cut that I think deserves to be kind of like brought up out of obscurity a little bit, just because it's just so weird. You
yeah,
know, it's a lot like Ruby, even though it's nothing like Ruby, but it's like Ruby in the way that it's just so weird. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not Star Games or The Visitor or anything like that. I mean, it's a foreign dubbed movie, so take that for whatever it's worth. We all know what those are like. But for something like that, it's just like it definitely keeps you interested to like, okay, what maybe not to a Star Games level, but what crazy weird thing's gonna happen
yeah,
next?
and
So,
this is available as one of the free ad-supported movies from Rift Tracks up on Tubi TV.
oh wow,
They
that's
actually
cool.
have the unriffed version as well, if you care to uh, hurt yourself in that way.
Yeah, why would anybody want to do that though? It's just
Right. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, hey, maybe you're a little low on funds right now or whatever, um, Tubi TV would be the best way to go about watching it for sure. Because
I
hey,
think it might be in the don't quote me on it, but it might be in the Twitch rotation.
there's a strong possibility that it's in the Twitch
Yeah.
rotation. But if it's not, rather than acquiring this in a different way, uh, go to Tubi
Yeah,
TV,
don't do that. Yeah.
TUBI, and check it out. Watch it that way, because they still get supported a little bit from
They
that. So
they get a cut from that, yeah.
before we move on to our next film here, the new release from Rift Tracks, let's mention our poll here again. We've got Santa Claus Live, we've got Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, and then being added this week is Jack Frost.
Woo, Jack Frost. I can see my house from up here.
I know there've been a few different movies named Jack Frost in the whole riffing thing. This is not
Yeah, this is not the Jack Frost from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is not the Russo finished film from MST3K. I will say that is one of my most wanted movies for them to redo from then, because I freaking love that one so much. The movie itself is perfect for it, and I'm sure that they would knock it out of the park.
Bad news, guys. I'm a bear.
This is the movie about the serial killer who gets turned into a snowman.
Yeah, then into antifreeze.
Yeah. That's your three choices to choose from: Santa Claus Live, Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, and Jack Frost. That poll will be up on our Patreon on Thursday, so if you are one of our patrons, please go vote for that as soon as possible so you don't miss out. And if you're not a patron, whatever yet,
Consider it, won't you?
yeah, consider it's $2 a month. Throw us $2 a month.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the newest release from Rift Tracks. This one is extra special.
Yes.
Not because it's a Roger Corman film, but because it's a
Yes, there's nothing special about Roger Corman.
yes, it's a team up. It is a team up
Yes.
bigger than the Avengers. It is Matthew J Elliot and Ian Potter and Mary Jo Pehl and Bridget Nelson all together
Four of
riffing
them.
this
Yes.
movie.
It's a Rift Tracks presents. Yes.
We got a little tease when Matthew and Bridget teamed up earlier in the year with the Sherlock Holmes and the Deadly Necklace or something like that.
Yes, yeah. It was awesome, and I didn't think it could get better. But then it's just like, oh, why not have all four of them? Now I thought the riff was going to get crowded. Honestly, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, right? But no, dude, it's pretty great. I gotta say, the four of them have some pretty good riffing chemistry
Yeah.
together.
Which it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, Matthew and Bridget were really good together in their riff.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that riff, I've been hoping that they were going to do something like this. And I'm so glad that they did, because,
Yeah.
you know, we talk ad nauseum about how much we love the riffs from Matthew and Ian and from Bridget and Mary Jo.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the whole chocolate and peanut butter thing, you know, and it's outstanding.
Yeah, it really
The
is.
movie's not. The movie is boring garbage.
Yeah, the movie is stupid. I mean, look, because I watched it.
We should probably say what the movie's called.
Yeah, the movie is called The Last Woman on Earth.
Yeah, and it is terrible.
Yeah. Here's the gist. These three people. There's a dude, another dude, and a chick. And one of the dudes is married to the chick. And on the day that all the oxygen gets sucked out of the earth, somehow, they were scuba diving, and they came up, and all the oxygen had been sucked from the earth. So they're like, "Oh no, we can't breathe. What's happening?" There's this Puerto Rican guy with huge eyebrows dead on the ground who was our friend,
Manuel.
who was no, seriously, this is what happened. So I guess the rest of the Earth's population suffocated to death, but they have oxygen tanks, and they're able to make it to, I think it's an island, where they're like, "Oh no, these trees produce oxygen. That way we can be near these trees and can breathe normally."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, dude, it's like, so there no one else on Earth was around trees on the day that all the oxygen got sucked off the Earth, or like nobody else was scuba diving, like. But anyway, getting away from that, as the movie progresses, it seems it's all about the reason that the movie is called The Last Woman on Earth is because it turns into this bickering feud between the two dudes about who's gonna get, basically who gets to have sex with his wife. That's what it's about.
Harold is the guy that's married to Evelyn. He's a businessman, and he just kind of got married. They say in between trials. She's never felt like
He's a banker.
Yeah, she never felt like he loved her or anything like that. She ends up sleeping with Martin, the other guy.
Yeah.
And then they get in a boat and leave, and then Harold chases them, and he kills Martin, and then she goes back with him, and they go off in the end.
Yeah. It ends with Martin dying in a church.
Yeah.
Like, and that it's just like with him, like, because I guess he got blinded, and dude, it's really dumb. It's like, dude, Roger Corman. I don't know why that guy's so respected. I really don't. I mean, we both saw Little Shop of Horrors.
Yep.
And his movies don't get. I mean, like, just a testament to this. I mean, you've seen Wasp Woman. Just like, what? Why do they keep it, dude? And he's like 100 years old, and they still and he's still making movies. Why? They're not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I'm just very resentful that Roger Corman gets to make movies and gets to have all this respect and money, and it's yeah.
But he made a lot of cult classics, Steve.
Yeah, they're all terrible. They're bad. But this was a really excellent. I really hope that these four do it again.
I think they probably will. I have a feeling.
I mean, I mean, like, I do like them as individual teams. Don't get me wrong, and I hope that we get more riffs from them.
Yeah.
You know, I hope it's just not just this team up from here on out, but I'm hoping that we get at least one or two more of the four of them doing a riff together, but with maybe not have it be public domain Roger Corman garbage.
Yeah, even if it's even if they give us like a just the jokes, like a blockbuster riff, together,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
yeah, do that. I mean, yeah, riff tracks.
There
Yeah,
you
we
go.
own you. Do
There you
what we
go.
say.
You
Yeah. Yeah, anything.
Dave, you always say that you want more MP3 releases.
I do want more MP3 releases.
This would be the perfect way for them to handle that.
Yeah, I mean they did Gravity, and Gravity was great.
They can still do their 2 or 3 just the jokes things that they do for like the Kickstarter stuff, and maybe 1 or 2 more throughout the year with, and it doesn't even have to be them. It can be, this other group, anybody in this other group. I'd be good with that. Or it could be Connor and Sean.
I was just about to say Connor and Sean. I mean, like it's been almost 2 years since the Batman versus Superman riff, guys. I mean, you guys were excellent.
Yeah.
Future is you. Let's do it.
There's really not much else to discuss with this movie because like that's the whole story.
Yeah, we've pretty much said all. Yeah, no, yeah, we've said everything we could say about The Last Woman on Earth. I mean, everybody knows that Matthew and Ian and Bridget and Mary Jo are awesome, and that this sort of marriage that happened in this riff. I think this is a very good first foray into that.
Yes.
I mean, I do hope that there's more of it. I really, really do, because I think there's a potential for them to do something that's even bigger than this, because I think that there's just so much there that could happen that I think it would be a shame if it was just limited to The Last Woman on Earth.
I agree. And there you have it. That's this week's episode. Before we go, I do want to kind of go back to this other thing that I touched on about watching, I believe it's Santa Claus, on a place like Tubi TV instead of finding it through other methods. Now, I'm sure you've watched a riff all the way through and you've heard them at the end of their riff saying, if you've got this any other place, if you purchase this or downloaded it from any other place besides rifftracks.com, you can head on over to their site and you can donate. And I want to make the case for doing that. Especially if you're somebody who torrents these, you find them on whatever torrent site, and you download them or whatever. And
they are very careful not to be judgy when they say stuff like this.
Mike, Bill, Kevin, and all of the other writers like Connor and Sean, and people like Eric and Nick and Peter, and all these people that work for Riff Tracks, they all work very hard to bring us this level of entertainment.
Yeah, that is correct.
And they do it all at an extremely reasonable price. I mean, we say it all the time, how much this short is worth the whole $1 to go download it, or this movie is worth the $9.99 to go download it. And these guys have to sit and watch these movies over and over again without the benefit of riffs.
Yeah.
Like, they have to sit through this stuff. And so if you've ever downloaded, an episode of Riff Tracks from a torrent, or watched where somebody uploaded it to YouTube on their own, unauthorized channel.
Yep.
All you have to do is head on over to rifftracks.com/donate.
They don't ask for much, even though they should, but.
And you can make it right. You can throw them a couple dollars. Yeah, they're a company of 15 people.
That still astonishes me.
Like,
honestly.
There's not very many people that work there. They are a very small company, and for them to do the things that they do, it's.
Oh, and yeah, guys. Yeah. Spoiler alert. They don't make millions of dollars.
And, they do these live shows, and that's above and beyond what they get from people buying the riffs, which is why they have to do the Kickstarter.
No, they have to do the Kickstarter. Yeah.
It's not because, they're greedy and they want more money for their projects like some other people that will go nameless. It's because it's really the only way that they can afford to put these on, because they pay for everything.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they have to rent a theater. They have
to build those sets. Yeah.
Put up housing, which is another part of the reason why they did the live shows they did last year, where they did them all kind of together.
Mm-hmm.
And
at least I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of internal backing,
Yeah.
money wise for this. So it's very important that you buy these riffs.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have to say about it. Go to rifftracks.com/donate and make it right if you've ever illegally downloaded a riff. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should rot in hell for stealing from some of the nicest people in the world. I'm not going to go there because I don't actually think that. I'm lying. I do. But
wow. Now for once you're the a-hole and I'm not.
Yes, showing my true colors finally after 22 episodes. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. You can find me at pbandawesome.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at pbandawesome. If you want to send me an email, you can do that through Jeremy at TrueBlue on Twitter at TBRiffcast. And of course, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/TrueBlueRiffcast, and support us a little bit if you so choose.
And as for me, I'm Dave, aka Sugar Ray Dodge. Check me out on the web at sugarraydodge.com. Send me emails at dave@trueblueriffcast.com.
We will be back next week with either Santa Claus, Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, or Jack Frost, and I can't wait because I love all three of those riffs. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya. Rock till you die.
You die. Rock till you die.